Good morning, Philadelphia. I'm David Foster, the Executive Director of the Bluegreen Alliance, and I'm happy to welcome all of you on behalf of our 12 labor and environmental partners in the steering committee of this conference to the 5th year of our Good Jobs, Green Jobs conferences. Now, 4 years ago, on the other side of this great commonwealth, we organized the first of the Good Jobs, Green Jobs conferences, little knowing that we'd be kicking off an annual event that has since drawn thousands of people from hundreds of organizations in literally every state in the union to Washington, D.C. This year we've held regional conferences in Atlanta and Los Angeles that have attracted over 1,500 people from 30 states and over 300 organizations. And here at this conference, we have over 550 delegates from 26 states attending and 185 organizations. So give yourselves a round of applause. And next month we'll be in Detroit. Now it's worth remembering where our country was 4 years ago in Pittsburgh and how far we've come. In the spring of 2008, trouble was on the horizon, but the storm clouds had not yet burst. On April 4th, 2008, I remember CNN ran a story with the headline, "Employers slash jobs for third straight month while unemployment jumps to 5.1%. What we wouldn't give for unemployment of 5.1% today, right? Meanwhile, gas prices had started their startling rise and were already at an average of $3.39 per gallon. Thus, when over 1,000 of us assembled from around the country in the spring of 2008, we already understood that the gathering headwinds of rising oil prices and fossil fuel dependence, of escalating unemployment driven by $1 trillion deficit to one country alone, China, and the growing threat and costs of climate change, all of those meant that the current model of the global economy was careening us off a cliff. And yet, in spite of those ominous storm clouds, in spite of all that, there was a sense of optimism in the air. U.S. Senators Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were battling to win the Pennsylvania primary when Senator Clinton, I remember this, pledged to create 1 million green jobs as president. Senator Obama promptly raised her bid, pledging to create 3 million. And in the Republican primary, Senator John McCain and Governor Mitt Romney were both declared supporters of something called an economy-wide cap-and-trade system to solve climate change, jumpstart the green economy. The debate wasn't whether we Americans would set down a bold marker toward building a low-carbon economy. The marker was how we would go about doing it. Today, I think many Americans from all walks of life are wondering, how did our national race toward innovation, clean energy, and a green economy become so politicized? Others question whether we've made any progress at all. And some are in despair over the future of our democracy and the long-term health of the planet. So over the next 2 days, I hope this 5th year of Good Jobs, Green Jobs conferences can help reorient all of us in 3 critical ways. First, we need to learn to tell the story of the last 4 years in a way that highlights the tremendous growth of the clean economy and the hundreds of thousands of jobs it has created. Second, we need to reaffirm the basic premise of how we create good jobs in the 21st century. And it's not by throwing out a century of social protections, throwing them overboard, and handing the economy back over to the robber barons of the 19th century. You don't create good jobs in America by repealing workers' rights to have a union in Wisconsin and Indiana and Ohio. You don't create good jobs in America by defunding the Environmental Protection Agency and ignoring the public health of millions of Americans. And you don't create good jobs by pretending there's no connection between innovation in the private sector and the role of government to write fair rules and sensible standards. And finally, third and most important, we need to build a nonpartisan jobs movement that makes sense to those in the center of our country. You know, we can pull America in the direction we want to go from both the left, or you can do it the way the Tea Party does from the right. But until we have the momentum to move the center, we're not going to get unstuck. Now, what do I mean by that? 4 years ago, one of the speakers at our Good Jobs, Green Jobs conference in Pittsburgh came to us as the CEO of the largest steel company in America, ArcelorMittal. Not an industry that most would think of as a green industry. Indeed, many people would think of it as an industry of the last century struggling to get by in the 21st. But Lou Schorsch reminded us that we couldn't produce 25% of America's energy from its wind resources without the 300 tons of steel that went into every wind turbine, that we couldn't build the high-speed rail, mass transit, freight rail systems that we need, the electric vehicles, the high-efficiency appliances, the carbon-neutral building systems, none of it without the steel that such a massive overhaul would require. And he used a phrase that has stuck with me ever since, when he said, "Our goal should be to turn every job in America into a green job, including every steelworker job at ArcelorMittal." Now, in the Blue-Green Alliance, we also say our mission should be to turn every green job into a union job. So that's the kind of jobs movement we need in America today, to put America back to work with good, green, union jobs, to make every job a part of the green economy, and to solve the pressing issue of climate change. So I hope this conference reinvigorates all of you. We have a lot of work to do in 2012 and a lot of reaping of the benefits of that work to do in 2013.